Some people are born great. Some others have to struggle for greatness, while for some, they have greatness bestowed upon them. In whatever situation an individual finds him or herself, what that individual is able to make of any opportunity that is available is what matters the most. We, more than anyone, know that such opportunities are so few and far between, especially in these climes that we find ourselves. And in realizing this, we appreciate those individuals who have stood the test of time, who have made their mark and carved a niche for themselves, as we welcome you to that program that seeks to bring to you the other side to our chief executives, the program Executive Discourse. I am Ololade Adeniji Dele. On this episode of the program, we shall be meeting an individual. This individual lost his father at the tender age of 13 years, and he was brought up solely by his petty trader mother. He is a businessman, he is a philanthropist, he is a publisher, he is a Nigerian journalist. He attended the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and today he is what we want to call an epitome of success. Please join me as we make welcome to Executive Discourse, Ayobamidele Ojutelegon Ajani Momodu, popularly known as Bob D. Please come with us.
Princess. Yes, you are welcome.
Thank you
to
very
the penthouse.
Thank you very much.
Okay, please have your seat.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again for having us on your home.
Thank you for coming. Well, Ayobamidele Momodu, as my mom was fond of calling me, or Ajani, was born in Ile-Ife, the ancient town of Ile-Ife, in 1960, to very humble parents, if that would not sound like cliche. But mercifully, my parents were very disciplined, God-fearing people. I was born in an Aladura church, a white Ghanaian church, and I was a Nazarite. What that means is being born as a child of God, no razor touched my head for 3 years. So what some people call dada and all that. So I still have curly hair till today. And I was brought up in the ways of the Lord. My father worked with the Public Works Department, PWD, or what people jocularly called Bon Bon Wala Dede. He was a road overseer in Ife. He had migrated from the then Midwest to Ile-Ife, where he met my mom, and they got married. Both of them had previously married, but I became the only product of their marriage. So I'm the last child for both of them. I did my education in Ife, primary, secondary, first degree, second degree, everything in Ife. So you can call me an Ife boy. And I graduated in 1982 after studying Yoruba single honors. Thereafter, I worked in between as a school teacher, a village school teacher. I worked as a secretary, a private secretary to the then Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Chief Akamaburewo. I later worked for the Oni of Ife Oba Kwadeshijuade Olubuje II. Prior to that, I had also been a teacher at the A level at the Oyo State College of Arts and Science in Ife. Then I landed in Lagos in 1988, more out of joblessness and desperation, because I had wanted to be a teacher. After my master's degree, I did a first degree in Yoruba and a master's in literature in English, which was a very odd combination, very extreme indeed. So I couldn't get a job, so I started freelancing. So I was writing for The Guardian in Lagos, writing for The Tribune in Ibadan. And eventually, a friend of mine, God bless his soul, Onukaba Adinoyojo, encouraged me to come to Lagos. I never planned to live in Lagos, never. It was not my dream. But that's part of my fatalism today. I believe that a man cannot run beyond his destiny. You know, so I came and I found a job on the spot at the Concord newspapers. That was in May 1988. And by May 1990, 2 years after, I became the highest paid editor in Nigeria as the editor of Classic magazine. I believe it was unprecedented, but my trajectory was such that God just gave me everything. I was flowing, but I came fully prepared. Yes, I was a workaholic. I still remain a workaholic. I'm 58 plus, and I only sleep a few hours. I believe there are too many things to be accomplished, and I just can't stop working.
Tell us, what was it like growing up, especially knowing that, you lost your father at a tender age and you were practically raised by your mother?
Oh, a lot. Because once you lose the breadwinner in Africa, it becomes very problematic for the family. We couldn't, for example, afford to pay our rent. So we had to abandon where we were living and we had to go and squat in Modakeke with our cousins. Going to school, our mom had to struggle. My other brothers were abroad in America. So every now and then, they tried to help. But then, they also had their own challenges to attend to. But eventually, God smiled on us. And that is why I am so passionate about education today. I think what liberated us was education. My mom was not educated, but she knew the value of education. My mom was determined. Even after I did my first West African School Certificate examination and I flunked it, I had a poor grade 3. My mom did not give up. She still encouraged me to go back and do it. That was in 1976. I did it again in 1977. It was the year of the Expo, and they seized my results. And I went a third time to get it done. My mom just would not give up. Though the 1977 results were eventually released. So I was able to enter university in 1978. We were the first set of jams. So we were called the first jambites at the time. So 1978 to 82, I was studying Yoruba in Ife. And then the rest is history.
What influenced your decision to study Yoruba language, of all courses?
I think I've always been a rebel. I like to do things differently. I was lucky to have worked at the University of Ife Library, now called the Ezekiah Oluwasomi Library. between 1977 and 1978. And there I came across so many scholars. The Wole Soyinkas were in Ife, the one there being ballers, the Akinwumi Sholas, so the Koli Omotoshos, the Yemi Ogunbuyis. We wanted to be like them. Those were our role models. It's not like now that the role models they must be rich, must have money. In those days, we wanted to be a scholar. So I was also exposed to a lot of literature. Then I discovered that when I look at convocation programs, so many people are graduating in law, so many in English language, so many are doctors. But when it comes to our indigenous languages, you find 2 or 4. And so an alarm rang in me that if care is not taken, we're going to lose our languages, to all these Western form of education. Everybody just wants what they considered funky, something glamorous. And I didn't, even my mom couldn't believe anybody would go to the university to read Yoruba. Yoruba Dele was saying, Belori read Dr. Tony, are you such a dullard? But I wanted to prove a point that intelligent people, smart people can read any subject and still excel in life. And God was able to let me prove that to the world. So today, I meet a lot of people who say, oh, it's because of you I'm reading Yoruba. I would never have thought of it. Now I'm enjoying it. I love it. And so I feel very proud. Yes, definitely. I would say it was preordained by God because I came to Lagos. I didn't have any godfather just because I'd been writing and my name was already out there. I went to an editor at the African Concord magazine, which was owned by Chief Moshood Abiola, Mr. Louis Obi, and on the spot, once he heard my name, he said, "You are Dele Momodu?" I said, "Yes." "You are no more than this." I said, "I'm no more than this." Then he said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "I need a job." He said, You need a job?" I said, "You're one of the best writers I've encountered so far." He said, "I'll give you one right away. How much salary do you want?" I was taken aback. Here is a man looking for a job, and within seconds, someone is asking how much, and I'd never lived in Lagos, so I didn't know, the cost implication, how much it will cost me to get a house, my transport, and everything. So we settled for 9,000 on the spot per annum, and that was it. But, like I said, within a few months, a new publication called the Weekend Concord was established by the MD, Dr. Doyin Abiola at the time, and I was on, so they picked some of the best journalists from the different departments, and I was picked from African Concord. And reluctantly, I said, "No, Weekend Concord, that's not a good paper," because I came from that background of academic person in Ife. So to send me to Weekend Concord, where we'll be writing about the man fights wife, but I didn't know that was also preordained. I wrote the first cover for that new publication, and that just blew me up. Week after week, I was releasing masterpieces. And my editor, Michael Wunifa, fantastic human being. I mean, I call him my boss for life. Just encouraged me endlessly. Himself and Dingba Igwe of blessed memory, he was there. He was the deputy editor. Fantastic. I was just rising like a meteorite because we started the paper in March 1989. 2 months after, I had a double promotion from staff writer straight to literary editor. I didn't do senior staff writer. 6 months after, I became news editor and I became number 3 man. Yes. So after Michael Wunifa, Dingba Igwe, it was Dele Momodu. I mean, that was unprecedented. Then, boom, somewhere along the line, Miriam Ezekiel, God bless her, so came to me and said, "Look, Dele, my magazine, classic, you're familiar with it, but I think I need you to energize this paper." And I said, hey, I mean, how can you be working for a man as big as MKO Abiola? And then here was a young lady, publisher, coming to tell you, come and join my paper. I was reluctant. Then I discussed with my boss, Michael Oyifa, and he looked at everything together. He said, Dele, let me be frank with you. This is a good offer. One, you'll be earning far more salary than even me, your boss. Number two, I am number one in Weekend Concord. Dingba is number two, and you are number three. Unless you kill both of us, you are not likely. It seems you've reached your peak so soon. And that was it. It drove me personally to number 3 Allen Avenue, where Classic Magazine was. Oh my God. And that was it. That was how I got the job. And I was well celebrated, everything. Of course, to whom much is given, much is expected. So I worked. I worked as if work was going out of vogue. And within 16 months, I'd made my mark. And by the time I resigned, I mean, my name was everywhere. Well, the first thing I would say is, again, I didn't set out to be a publisher. Because after I left Classic, I tried to do a publication called Ovation, but it didn't fly. I couldn't raise the funds. I tried, I spoke to different people. There was one that was even close enough, a very, very big brother of mine. He wanted to invest, but somehow the negotiation collapsed. So I gave up totally on the idea, and I went into media consultancy. So I was doing public relations for quite a number of very prominent Nigerians, from Moshood Abiola to Mike Adenuga to Akim Bello Osage. I had a good relationship working with them. Kola Abiola was my first client. You know, he brought me into Summit Oil International. Then later I was doing things for Dr. Mike Adenuga Jr. And then when Mr. Akim Bello Osage bought UBA, so I was handling things for him. And that was until the Abacha saga, and I had to escape from Nigeria. I never thought I would do a publication again because I was relatively comfortable. But man proposes, God disposes. In 1995, I found myself running into exile in England. And it was while in England that a cousin of mine, Shegun Fatoye, asked me, hey, when you've been here for 3 months, you're not doing anything. You can't sit down. If you're not careful, you're going to wash plates or even dead bodies. And I said, no, it's not going to be my portion. And, you know, that was how the idea for Ovation came about. And I was scared. Where will I get the money from? Because I'm the kind of person that I dream big. I don't like to do things the regular way. Like I said, I'm a rebel. If I'm not going to contribute something new to what I'm going to do, then I'm not going to start it. What is worth doing at all is worth doing well, and very, very well. So, fortunately, we had what I would call a kamikaze spirit. We were ready to commit suicide. You know, it was suicidal, the kind of ambition that we had. In fact, one of my partners pulled out on the eve of starting Ovation. He said my ideas were just too fantastic, and, you know, he didn't believe any human being would be thinking. We had about a total of 20,000 pounds, you know. My uncle had contributed some money, Chief Ezekiel Fatoye, you know, and we just pulled our resources together, a few friends, Damola Aderemi, Yemi Aderemi, everybody, you know, Dami, Lola Abiodun. We had a couple of people, Bayo Williams, just young guys. These were young guys who just believed that, no, anything Dele or Bob D, because they all call me Bob D, anything that this man touches, something good will come out of it. And I'm eternally grateful to them because I was at my lowest ebb at the time. And that was it. We started, and today we have Ovation everywhere. Well, I would say Ovation, let me say before Ovation, I had an Ovation. I was well known, well established, but after Ovation, I had a louder Ovation. And trust me, it is very, very uncommon. My life has been quite remarkable and phenomenal, beyond my dreams. Sometimes I see it as surreal. It's just not real. It's like a dream world. And that's why a lot of people cannot understand me. They can't please me. I read sometimes people write some nonsense about me and I just, do these guys know me? Because what they see is the aura, the extravagant nature of ovation. And so everybody assumes that Dele must be an extravagant, a pompous idiot without any knowledge. I remain a scholar. If you go in my library, you'll be amazed. In this house, the most important place apart from our sanctuary, our bedroom, is my library. I'm there. You're likely to find me there all the time. While you were setting up, I was there working. So for me, my life, and I'm hoping I can document it, is exceptional. God has been exceptionally kind to me. I feel sad that people nowadays measure success in terms of money. I cannot describe myself as a man of wealth, but I am a man of knowledge. And to me, intellectual property is the most expensive property in the world.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
The following guidelines for eased lockdown, as announced by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, are effective from 4th May 2020 in Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun states. For public spaces, the following are mandatory: improvised face masks, temperature checks, hand washing facilities and hand sanitizers, physical distance of at least 2 meters, no sporting activities and mass gathering. On travel, these are prohibited: passenger flights, interstate travel except essential services, movement of agro products and petroleum products. Note, there will be mandatory supervised isolation of returnees for at least 14 days. For markets and offices, neighborhood markets are to open 3 times a week from the hours of 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Banks and financial services are to open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Government offices are open only to staff from grade level 14 to 17 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Corporate offices and private sector are open to business from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Schools, churches, mosques, clubs, bars and gardens remain closed till further notice. COVID-19 is real. Take responsibility and stay safe.
Fiercely loyal to his friends. If Dele calls you a friend or a brother, he is fiercely loyal. He will defend you to the last breath. With his last breath, he will defend you whether you are there or not. He will speak on your behalf about what he knows and what he believes about you. And when you have a friend who can watch out for you and hold brief for you, I don't think you can ask for a better friend. So for me, the best way to describe Dele Momodu for me is that he's a fiercely loyal friend. And I use the word fiercely very, very deliberately. I've been in situations where people are trying to denigrate me in his presence and he's like, you can't do that. This is who I know and this is how he is, and you cannot tell me any other thing. And you know, his track record is there. So that's for me, that's him. And he's deeply patriotic, very accommodating as well. Because he has a very open and free style to how he does his things, people tend to take it for granted. Dele Momodu is not just a friend; he's a brother. So we've shared a lot together from the very first day we met, and then we were lucky to have worked in not just one place together, but in two places together. We were both in Concord at the same time, and then with me and my late wife, when we started Classic, he was brought in to edit, and so we've continued. And even when he went on exile, and he started Ovation. At the point, I was the distributor of Ovation in Nigeria. Yes, Ovation would be brought to my office on 20th Street at the time, and from there, I'll dispatch it to all the people who, some people will come and collect from me, and all that. So it's been a relationship. And then, of course, when he was on exile too, I'll go to London and I'll spend time with him, and work in his office. We've had quite an amazing time together, and after that, of course, when he came to Ghana and he was setting up, you know, I was master of ceremony for the big launch of his restaurant and everything. So we've come a long way.
Well, I've always told people that my meeting Chief Moshood Abiola was also a miracle. I'd always dreamt as a student that, hey, I would like to meet this man. And I actually met him briefly in 1981. That was at the time of his departure from MPN. He had just fought with his political party, and he said he was no longer interested, and he stormed out. So we met him, you know, a friend of mine and myself, we met him, and for me, my dream exploded thereafter. Who is this man? I read everything and anything about MKO Abiola. And then, so just imagine that the first job I got was with his company. I had wanted The Guardian, but The Guardian could not give me a job. So can you just believe that? And my destiny just led me to the man of my dream. And thereafter, like joke, my first major encounter with him at Concord was when he wanted to host the Super Eagles and he needed Shina Peters to perform. And so he was told that I'm the expert on Shina. Shina was very close to me, that so I'll be able to get Shina for him. And I went and I got Shina. So he was very excited. And that was how our interaction started. And by the time I left Concord, I couldn't tell him because he would not have allowed me to go. I spoke to his wife, Dr. Abiola, who had always been my mentor, a mother figure, and all she asked me is, Dele, are you sure? You haven't spent up to 2 years and you want to go? I said, yes. Are you sure you can edit a magazine? I said, I will try, ma. She said, okay, I wish you the best of luck. She didn't discourage me. And I thank her forever, because any other boss, for our own selfish reasons, could have said, oh, don't go, or we will increase your salary if it is salary. But no, it wasn't about salary. I love challenges. So when I do things and people think it's about money, say, oh, if I interview Atiku today, they say, oh, Atiku has paid Dele Momodu. If I interview Saraki, oh, Saraki has paid, you know, that is the trend. But unknown to them, I am doing what God created me to do, which is to create a new dimension for journalism in Africa. I open doors almost effortlessly. In fact, you can call me Mr. Access. If the title of Ovation was not Ovation, maybe it would have been Access Magazine, because I just opened doors. I don't know how God did it for me. And people are able to trust my judgment. They know I'm not going to come into your house and write something offensive about you. There are people I call destroyers. When they come to your home, they are coming to destroy it. Everything they touch, they must destroy it, because they are children of anger. They are bitter about society. I believe that we will correct Nigeria, not through bitterness, but through super intelligence. There is no nation that can be built on thuggery, on bitterness, on hatred. No. Nigeria, if Nigeria will prosper, we must first of all educate our people, lift them out of poverty, and the rest shall be added onto it. No, it had nothing to do with that. You see, Chief Abiola, I have always maintained, could defend himself. He didn't need any of us to defend him. But I was defending myself and the future of my children. Because if Nigeria is good, then all of us will enjoy it. When Nigeria was good, we didn't have to go abroad to school. Today, we have to all go and look for money to be able to send our kids to the best schools. You know? So, for me, supporting Abiola was more of a personal thing. My future, the future of my children. It wasn't about Abiola. And that's why I salute the man. The man didn't need to go through that suffering. He didn't need to make that sacrifice. And, I mean, there were a lot of very gallant people who supported him. And I'm sure it wasn't because they wanted anything from him. One of them was Prince Dele, Uncle Demo, as I used to call him, you know. And we staked everything. The last time Abiola was on the street, it was Uncle Demola's car that brought him back because he went into hiding, and we went there early morning to Surulere to bring him out from Senator Wahab Dosumu's house. And it was an open jeep, and you know, and we drove and we came to Toyin Street, then to Monshood Abiola Crescent. And only myself and Prince Dele insisted that Chief must not get captured. But nobody listened to us. They said, oh, we were bloody cowards. Oh, they must arrest him. If they don't arrest him, oh, there will be no action. I said, what action? Nigeria does not have a history of sustained struggle. Once they capture the head of that struggle, every other person will collapse. And that's what happened. People rushed into Abiola's house. The security people waited for us. So he asked me, because for about 48 hours, I had not slept, I had not changed. So Chief said I should go home and come back. By the time I came back, the police, they had surrounded the whole place. So it's very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. But again, as a fatalist, I believe that was his destiny. Now his name will never perish. Whether he is recognized or not recognized, his name will never perish. He has achieved what most people, 99.9% of human beings, will never be able to achieve. You see, that's why I told you that there were some of us who did things not because we wanted to be ministers, wanted to be anything. I feel so degraded and insulted. Anytime I read, oh, you are criticizing government because you want something. What do I want? Look, from where I came from in Ife to where I am in Lagos and globally, I'll be the stupidest human being to get greedy. If there was one thing my mom drummed into my house every day, remember the son of whom you are. 2, never get greedy, be contented. That's all. When all my mates were busy building mansions and doing everything, I was busy building Ovation. It got to a point, even my older brother was worried for me that, hey, I hear you don't have a house in Nigeria. What's your problem? And I told him, it's your fault, sir. You brought me up, but you never taught me how to steal. I don't do all those deals. I don't. Going to government and then one governor will keep you and you are sleeping and snoring, waiting to see a governor. Not me. I faced my job. Every little money we made, we managed well. So, where do I live? I live in a flat. That's all. Am I going to sleep in 2 bedrooms at a time? No. The children, they are growing up. If you live in a mansion, half of the rooms will be inhabited by rats, rodents. They will help you live in there. So in my life, I was brought up to have contentment. And I am happy today that Fela Durotoye was there the other day with his wife, Tara. And I told them, you should never beg to serve your nation. Your nation should beg to serve if indeed they need your services. When I see people who have to beg, sell their properties, sell their houses because they want to go into government, not me. I've never been a member of any mainstream party. My party is National Conscience Party, small party. I took after the great man, Chief Gani Fawehinmi, and to me that's okay. So every now and then, if I see a good candidate in the mainstream party, I supported Buhari in the last election, but I didn't join APC. Anybody who wants power desperately would have joined APC, waiting for positions, to be minister, to be ambassador, no, I wasn't interested. I contested the presidential election in 2011. After I lost, I gave up my house in Abuja. I never went back to Abuja for 2 years. Nobody will believe it. I could have gone to PDP or to Jonathan. There is no leader in Nigeria I will go to who would not be happy to have me on board. But never, I just went my own way. When Buhari came, I was probably the first publisher Buhari invited to a one-on-one meeting. Just two of us with God inside the room. I never for once went there to say, sir, this is what I want. No, we discussed Nigeria, the interests of Nigeria. And that to me is uppermost. So if my country needs me, I know that my country will talk to me. But if I have to beg to serve my country, then I'm not a man. It's not being arrogant or anything. I just believe that God has channeled us towards certain directions. And my own direction is to make impact in the media, and I thank him for it, and I'm going to hold on to it because that is all I have. I've tried different things. I owned one of the biggest restaurants in Ghana, the House of Ovation. But when they were having problems of electricity, I had to call it a day because I didn't want anything that would destroy the original brand. Now we're doing television, which we're still experimenting. Eventually, we would be able to explode like the magazine. We have the Boss newspaper, which is an online newspaper, and it's getting more and more popular. I'm sure in the near future, there are ideas I have for the Ovation brand, depending on resources, what we can afford. I try to limit myself to what I can afford. I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm not getting any younger. But I know that one thing I love and love passionately is media.
Why don't you just take a pause there? Yes, we need to see some other sides to you. I have been speaking with the man, Dele Momodu, popularly known as Bob D. Let's find out who this man really is as a father, as we meet some members of his family to find out who Bob D really is as a father.
A lovely husband, a darling and a good husband and father to my children, but the very best. Ajani, Ayobami, Dele, Ojutelego, you are a very good man, a very good husband.
Well, literally he's my dad, but also he's a friend, he's a mentor, he's one of my biggest inspirations. I always say that I'm his biggest fan, but also he's my biggest fan. So we've always had a good relationship, and he always shares his knowledge and his experiences and gives advice, and we always speak about different things that we're doing or different projects. So yeah, but I think mainly I'd say he's a friend. He's a good father, but even that word father, like, it doesn't just apply to me, it applies to so many different people. I've had people send me messages referring to him as their dad, and sometimes I think, he's not your dad, he's my dad. Or, you know, just out in public, or, I mean, he has his literal biological children, but he has so many different people that he's sort of taken under his wing, even before we were born. And so there's always been a little bit of a competition for his time and his attention. Not necessarily in a negative way, but if that makes some sense, we've always been used to sort of sharing him with the world. We've had to learn not to be too selfish with him.
We're talking about someone who is my biggest inspiration in life. When you hear people talk about someone in such fond ways all the time, and you actually know this person since the first day you've been born, that person has been in your life, then it's really quite a humbling experience. He's just someone who always puts his children first and foremost. I've always felt that we as his children understood when he wasn't here that everything he was doing was to our benefit, and so I think that made things easier to deal with growing up. When he was around us, like, he smothered us all the time, you know. We used to have a running joke when my dad was around that, you know, we're about to go and get all the toys that we want. And so it was like, when he was around, it was always fun. And he made sure, even now, especially with all of us all dotted around in Nigeria and in the UK, he still does everything he can to try and be there as much as possible.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
In the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, information management is key.
I'm Cyril Stober.
Fatima Umar Buba.
Joseph Johnson.
Rhoda Anonem.
Muhammad Kudu Abubakar.
Jumbo Yusuf.
My name is Kirian Umaya.
Here in NTA, we're working very hard to make sure that everything we broadcast is accurate and up to date. Misinformation spreads very fast.
The social media has been a huge conveyor of misleading information from one individual to another, then to another set of groups. In a short while, it goes viral, and before you know it, it is all over the world.
There have been several misleading information on coronavirus COVID-19. Recently, the misconception of 5G as a cause of coronavirus is becoming widespread. Another is the belief that hot beverages and alcoholic drinks are internal cleanser for COVID-19, thereby leading to excessive consumption of these drinks.
The use of local concoctions as treatment for COVID-19 are yet to be scientifically proven. However, there has been several theories about the efficacies of these concoctions. We should stay safe and denounce all manner of fake news and misleading information on COVID-19.
For medical advice, go on the WHO website, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC website, or stick with the advisories from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 or other authentic official sources. NTA is one of them.
An interesting side, I'm sure you'll agree with me, because we've been speaking with the children of the man Dele Momodu, and it's good to know that indeed he is a good father. Well, kudos to you. Now, having heard what your children said, how exactly is it with you? You know, I mean, with the kind of lifestyle that you live, how is your family affected?
Oh, a lot, because we hardly see. It's very, very difficult. In fact, my wife just arrived about 2 or 3 days ago from England, and so, but let's also give thanks to technology. We speak, I haven't seen you in so many years, but we've been speaking on phone. So it's the same thing. And fortunately also I travel a lot. So a lot of times I pass through England so I can spend a day or two with them before I continue on my journey. And we're happy that we're doing what God has sent us to do. I've been able to train them that in my absence, know that the struggle is for all of us. Yes.
And there have been no complaints?
Oh, there will be. Oh, there would. I was telling my wife on the dining table last night that there is no way a woman will not complain, but the man must know how to manage her. Women love attention, they love to be complimented, and so you can call me the king of romance. Sometimes you say, oh, you are 419, you know. So, but you have to make your wife, because if the home front is not happy, you cannot be happy. I blame people who are successful, but they are not successful at home. I told my wife, she wrote me a letter. I hope she's not listening. Wrote me a letter about 3 weeks ago. I wept. Because she said, you are a good man. You are a good husband. And I've heard tales from some friends, what they are facing in their marriages. And I must say, I've taken you for granted. So it's good when your wife is able to appreciate the little that you do. I'm not perfect. No human being is perfect. I've made my own mistakes in life. But I want to seek perfection. I want to get closer to God. As you get closer to your old age, I calculate my age every day. I have less than 22 years to 80. Less than 12 years to 70. It worries me. So if Jesus were to arrive today, where will he meet me? So my dream is to get closer to my God, is to begin to cleanse my sins. Jesus Christ came to take our sins away, but we must walk in concert with him. So a lot of people, when they see me today, they say, oh, you are looking different, you act different. I eat less, I don't drink, you know. So going to parties, going to nightclubs, no. I just want to purify myself as much as possible. And that's what I advise to people, because success does not mean only working for like jail. You don't eat salt based on how wealthy you are. Oh, you have too much money, then you start pouring salt in your... It's not possible. So we have to get philosophical about life, and God will help us. Well, I would say my job, there's no time I'm not working, because I'm addicted to social media. If you check 2 a.m., you will see I'm posting. And I'm getting reports, pictures, stories from all over the world. I'm a global citizen, and I just can't stop working. Fortunately, my style of journalism is more of lifestyle and entertainment. So as I'm working, I'm also having pleasure along the way. And I love that. I enjoy that. I'm very lucky.
Indeed, this has been a beautiful time for me, meeting this man that we all refer to as Bob D. He is, as we have seen, he's a businessman, he's a journalist, he's a father, he's a publisher, he is a philanthropist, and most importantly, he is the boss that we all know him. For more of such on Executive Discuss, please join us again next time as we bring you another interesting individual as our executive.